Hello friends, welcome to my channel Hail Notes. Hope you all are happy and healthy. Today the video is going to be very interesting because in this video I am going to talk about an Indian. What will be said will be less for him. The person sacrifices everything to find eternal knowledge. And his conviction is still unreliable nowadays. And every single statement of him is potent enough to enliven the youths of the society. Even his birth death is celebrated as National Youth Day of India. Yes, the person is Swami Vivekananda. Is one of those persons who don't need any introduction to make familiar with any of the audience in the world. Swami Vivekananda was born on 12th January in 1863 into an aristocratic Bengali caste family in Calcutta as Narendranath Datta. His father's name is Vishwanath Datta and an attorney of Calcutta High Court, and mother's name was Bhuvaneshwari Devi, a religious and kind-hearted lady. The spiritual genius Vivekananda crammed immense labor and achievement into his short life, and from very childhood he started showing his signs of a great individual. And the name Vivekananda was given by his masters for his maturity of his mind when he keeps in touch to find the truth of life. Swami in his youth was fascinated by the agonistic philosophy of Western schools. At the same time, vehement in his desire to know the truth about God. He questioned many of the people of holy reputation, asking them if they had seen God or not, and find nothing anecdotic. And then he found such a person in Sri Ramakrishna, who became his master, allayed his doubts, and guided him to the spiritual path, and transformed him into a sage and prophet with authority to teach. After the death of Sri Ramakrishna Paramahansa, Vivekananda went on to spread out his master's thinking about religion and spirituality. And then he reached to America, and there Vivekananda represented Hinduism at World's Parliament of Religion conference during the World Columbian Exposition in Chicago at 11th of September in 1893. With his opening words, "Sisters and brothers of America," Swamiji brought the crowd into its fate. In America, Vivekananda interrupted about India's spiritual culture, especially in its Vedantic settings. He also tried to enrich the religious consciousness of the Americans through the rational and humanistic teachings of the Vedanta philosophy. In America, he became India's spiritual ambassador and pleaded eloquently for better understanding between India and the New World in order to create healthy synastic of East and West, of religion and science, and coined the phrase service of mankind is the service of God. Then subsequently he was invited to speak all over America and Europe. In fact, most of Vedanta societies which were founded in America and Europe up through the 1930s can trace their origin directly to Vivekananda. His vast knowledge of Eastern and Western culture, as well as his deep spiritual insight, forbid eloquence, bright conversation, broad human sympathy, colorful personality, and handsome figure, made an irresistible appeal to the Americans of the time. As he is the manifestation of modern India, his personality was as attractive as the Nobel Prize awarded person Rabindranath Tagore represented Vivekananda as the transcended India. Once told that if someone wants to know India, then he must need to know about Swami Vivekananda. His life and teachings are inestimable value to the West for an understanding of the mind of Asia. Vivekananda was a man with a great spiritual presence and tremendous intellect who was also a tireless teacher and writer. He wrote poems and hymns in Bengali, English, and Sanskrit, some of which are sung daily in the Vedanta centers worldwide. He was ahead of his time and encouraging women and Westerns not to only practice Vedanta but to be the leaders. Vivekananda initiated both women as Sannyasini and Brahmacharini respectively, a radical act for the time. Vivekananda's main topic in the West and in the India was practical Vedanta. By these times, the Swami Vivekananda stressed that religion need to be intensely practical and carried into all areas of our lives. The primary message of Vedanta is one of the oneness and that our human purpose to realize our divine nature. Through his teachings on the four yogas, the harmony of religion, divinity on soul, and the serving humanity as God, Vivekananda gave spiritual aspirants path to the realization. Swami's mission was both national and international. A lover of mankind, he strove to promote peace and human brotherhood onto the spiritual foundation of the Vedantic oneness of existence. A mystic of highest order, Vivekananda had a direct and intuitive experience of reality. He derived his ideas from the unfailing source of wisdom and often presented them in the soul-stringing language of poetry. Many political leaders of worldwide have publicly acknowledged their in-depthness to Swami Vivekananda. For 3 years, he spread the Vedanta philosophy and religion in America and England, and then returned to India to found Ramakrishna Math and Ramakrishna Mission. He passed away July 4th of 1902. After a brief second visit to the West, his lectures and writings have been gathered into 9 volumes of his complete works. In the course of a short life of 39 years, only 10 were devoted to public activities, and those too in the midst of acute philosophical suffering. He left for prosperity his four classics: Jnana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Karma Yoga, and Raja Yoga, all of which are outstanding treatises on Hindu philosophy. In addition, he delivered innumerable lectures, wrote inspired letters, and his own hand to his many friends and disciples, composed numerous poems, and acted as spiritual guide to the many seekers who came to him for instruction. He also organized the Ramakrishna Order of Monk, which is the most outstanding religious organization of modern India. It is devoted to the propagation of Hindu spiritual culture not only in Swami's native land but also America and other parts of the world. Thank you, friends, and that's all for the day.